Hey everyone, welcome to the Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, how you doing? We are in the month of December, Christmas time, holiday season. I love this time of year, honestly. My birthday literally starts from obviously the end of November, and it takes me right on to the end of the year. I love this time of year.
It's cold.
It is cold. It is cold. Although, again, we talk about it all the time. I've been traveling a lot. It is colder in some other parts of the country.
Oh, yeah.
I came back here and was like, you know what? I'm a little bit happier to be back here than I am in some other places.
You've been hanging out in the Midwest.
Yes. Yes. And it's not a game. They're hunkering down for some storms. We're actually supposed to be getting some storms as well. I hope not, because I'm past the point, when you were a kid and you were like, you like snowstorms and you like staying home and all that. I see snowstorms, I cringe.
I like snowstorms as long as they're in the middle of the week and I get paid to stay home and not go to work.
So that scenario never happens for me. A snowstorm is a disaster for me.
It always happens on the weekend.
Correct. Yeah. So, I'm good.
Let a snowstorm happen on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to see you too, brother.
Yeah. So, look, if you don't mind, I have a little anecdote this time. A few weeks ago, I talked about, and I just alluded to it, that I travel a lot. And I kind of made myself sound like a saint when I had some airline issues. I told the whole story about the delay and all that. And that was accurate. This weekend was kind of the reverse of that, in the sense that I was very upset.
Uh-oh.
Now,
don't tell me you became one of those people.
No, I did not become one of those people. Or at least, I'll put it this way. I felt as though I took my frustration out on the people who it should be taken out on, which was my whole sort of beef back then. So I'm going to start this out by saying this was completely my fault in terms of how this started.
Okay.
I'm not ever going to get, I think you've done a good job of this, and hopefully I have too. I'm never going to get into the specifics of my job and what I do and all that. I have said I travel for it. My job has been very good about sort of either directly, financing the travel or reimbursing me for it. So there are times in which the decision to make a arrangement is so sudden that it's just more convenient for me to go ahead and pay for it myself and then go ahead and get the reimbursement. Recently, this was one of those times. So because of that, here's where my fault comes into play. I went ahead and somehow booked a round trip for a flight and then turned around and I guess I changed my mind on, well, not I guess, I did. I remember doing this. Changed my mind on the last leg, the return trip, and I changed the date. But somehow I didn't change it. I added the date. So in other words, the original return date was supposed to be the 7th. Okay. I was like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and return on the 8th, which would be today. And somehow instead of just changing it, I added it. So all of a sudden, on Thursday, I start getting these alerts. Hey, you ready to start checking in? You can check in 24 hours. And I'm like, today's the 6th. Why would I be doing that? I was out at dinner with my coworkers when this happened. And, they saw my face and they were like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm getting these alerts asking me to check in and I'm not supposed to leave till Saturday. And so I started checking it out. And then I finally come to realize what I did. So this is my fault. That is my fault.
You double booked.
Double booked. My fault. Okay. I said, I will wake up tomorrow. Because this is Thursday night. I said, I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll call the airline. I'll go ahead and get this straightened out. At worst come to worst, I should be able to take the Friday trip that I'm not going to do. Yeah, I'll probably have to change it. Or pay a change fee. Because you have to do that. But go ahead and parlay some of that into a future trip. Because I know I'm going to make future ones. All right, nah. How about the airline was having none of that? And so I call on Friday. I call them. Matter of fact, I hate having to do stuff, at work sometimes. But I literally, on my lunch break, I say, you know what? I'm going to go in the back because I don't even want to like go off site. I don't want to do all this. I just need some privacy. Leave me alone, because something in me told me this is not going to be as smooth as like you think this is going to be. And it was not. I called them, and spoiler alert, Southwest was the airline that hooked me up last time. And even though we had the delay, they made me sure I got in a hotel. They gave me vouchers. They did all the stuff.
Love vouchers.
Love vouchers. That's right. LUV. Suffice to say, I'm not going to go ahead and disparage this company because I might have to go ahead and take some more action in the future. But suffice to say, this was not Southwest. I called this airline. I tell them what happened. Yeah, no, we can't change your flight. What do you mean? What? Wait a minute. My flight's at 6 o'clock. I'm calling you at like 11:30. Yes, you can. Yes, you can change this. All I'm trying to do. I don't even want any money back. I know I'm coming back to this location within a matter of weeks. Let's go ahead and move this around. Yeah, no, we can't do it. Period. Like, can't do it.
Did you buy a non-changeable ticket?
No. I mean, this was a standard ticket. It was a standard round trip ticket. I'd already flown the first half. I said, you do see, like, you are looking at my name, right? So you see that I literally have a return flight to DC at 6 o'clock on Friday, and then another one at 8 o'clock a.m. on Saturday. Does that make sense? You see what I did? I have flown this airline and this trip. I mean, I wouldn't say dozens, but I mean lots of times. What are you guys doing? Yeah, I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Did you try to do it yourself before you called them?
Absolutely. I went on the app and did it. And then the app was like, nah, you gotta call.
That is so
that's
weird.
That's how it got me to that point. I spoke to the representative. All right, can I speak to someone else? I didn't Kirk on him. Get the manager. All right. Here's the situation. Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't say you booked an unchangeable flight. They were just like, we can't change it, like, at this juncture. Again, I'm giving up my seat. You know you have people on standby. I fly this way. I will pay the change fee. What are y'all talking about? I do this all the time when I don't make a mistake. If, for example, I'm running up against my flight with Southwest. Boom. Oh, you want to change it? All right, cool.
Well,
no problem.
Well, you were talking about Southwest. You can pretty much do anything.
Yeah. This is why Southwest kind of like routinely handles the other airlines, because it's like, what are y'all, what are you doing?
Exactly.
What are y'all doing? So I'm talking to this lady, and again, I spent a big portion of the last or the time I talked about my delay before talking about, do not take your frustration out on people who can't do anything about it. I'm not going to say this lady could do anything about it, but she certainly didn't have the attitude like she could. And I need that. At least show me something like, oh, you know what? She gave me the robotic response. Ma'am, listen, I am involved in customer service. I made a comment last time we talked about this where I don't have to deal face to face with the public. No, I don't. But I manage people who do. Empathy. I'm gonna need you to show some.
She had no bedside manner.
Listen, I have thick skin, but what's not gonna happen is you're not gonna give me the little stupid robotic response. Like, I'm gonna just go ahead and eat that and walk off.
I'm gonna tell you what happened behind the scenes. The first person you talked to explained what happened and basically said, I already told him we couldn't change it. And so the next person was like, well, he gonna get the same answer from me. So got on the phone and was like, yeah, no.
Of course. I run this type of business. I operate this type of business, so I know that. And I also know that you're supposed to at least get on there. And I was not being obstinate. I was trying to explain the situation, and I was trying to understand why I couldn't do this. And it was like, okay, so fine. I'm already seething at that, but I've accepted that. So here comes my flight. Saturday. They booked me for a flight Saturday. I finally look at the ticket. Again, my fault. I probably should have looked at it before. They gave me 20 minutes in between my layover in Charlotte.
They gave you, or that's what you chose?
No. Well, I'll put it this way. That makes no sense. It would make sense if the gates were right next to each other.
Right. If they're both in A, then sure.
Yeah. So,
but that never happens.
Exactly. When you buy the ticket, you have no idea where the gate is going to be. Yeah. So here comes Saturday morning. I get my tickets. I start getting my gates. One gate is in Terminal C and one gate is in Terminal E in Charlotte. So,
but usually they wait for you though.
Best case scenario is that I might, if I do some OJ Simpson Hurts running.
He's banging on the table because he's mad.
Sorry. That's the thumping. If that plane lands exactly on time and I run through the airport like the OJ Simpson, was it Hurts?
It was Hurts.
The OJ Simpson Hurts commercial, I might be able to get to the other gate to make my other flight.
That's if the people on your flight actually get their asses up and get off the plane in a reasonable time.
Which my flight did not.
Of course not. They never do.
Number one. Number two, everyone who's flown an airplane or flown recently knows they start boarding 30 minutes before. So why would you have a connecting flight
20
minutes in between? Boarding has already started. They're already looking for standbys. I'm in group 4.
Well, they'll probably they say your name over the announcement.
Of course they do.
Ask for you.
Yeah, Shaka called. Where are you? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we should see. Same airline. Maybe we should see that his flight just landed and he's a mile away.
I know this airline.
A mile away.
I figured out who it is.
A mile away.
I hate that airline.
In one of the biggest airports in the world. Okay, so let's go ahead and put him in. So I said, okay. I'm sitting on the airplane. First of all, we took off late. So I already knew what time it was. I was like, all right. I listen to, guys, spoiler alert, I listen to our podcast a lot when I travel. It's very soothing to me. I'm very narcissistic.
Yes, he loves the sound of his own voice.
Correct. Sham's voice. Let's just say that. Fine.
Lies.
Lies. It's mine.
I hate you.
No, I'm sorry. All right. No, seriously. So as soon as like I was looking at my watch, and as soon as I saw that the hand of the second went over the time frame of my boarding pass, I was like, I'm not gonna make this flight. Zero chance.
Did you even try?
I put on the side. Try how? What, fly the plane?
No.
What do you mean?
Did you do the Hertz run?
No, I'm talking about before I left. I'm sorry. Yeah, now I'm rewinding. Before I left, I knew that this would be a bad situation. Yeah. So I put on the podcast, put my head back, and was like, I might have to do an OJ Simpson Hertz run through the airport. So I was mentally preparing myself for that. Listen to the podcast. It was very soothing. The first flight was very short. So it's like, all right, cool. Get there. Everyone takes, like you alluded to, this sweet time getting off the plane.
Every flight.
And it's like, okay, I'm not trying to be that guy that's like pushing through the airplane like, oh, I got to fly or whatever. Because everyone kind of looks at you like, I mean, whose fault is that?
Right.
Yeah. As if it's my fault that
I wonder though if you would have alerted the flight attendant before you landed that you have a 20-minute layover, if she would have
told the pilot to go to another gate,
or no, if she would have
told everybody to sit down,
paved a way for you.
They don't care.
I just said I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them allude to this is the most I've seen them do, and then I'll kind of drop this because that was kind of the end of it. I've seen flight attendants be like, okay, who all had, like, they'll kind of do a roll call.
Yeah.
And if it's enough people, everybody kind of backs off like, all right, that's enough people. Me, the one person, which it seemed like I was, from that destination to that layover to my final destination, I don't think I would have had much luck.
I would have thought because it's just you, it would be easy.
I would think that.
So
Regardless,
just let this guy off because he's got to catch this.
Yeah,
flight.
like let this dude.
You're one dude.
Go. Yeah, but you know what? And it was one of those things. So I get off. I go through the airport. I do make the flight because it was delayed. I got lucky. They were on the verge of giving my ticket away, knowing that I was on the other flight. It's the same airline. It's the same airline.
Are you gonna write a letter?
No, because I don't write letters.
But
but guess what? I was on the verge of being like, hey, you know what? I know somebody who will write a hell of a letter about this. I guarantee you that. Get me on this plane right now.
Just for clarity, I don't write letters for other people.
You don't? You wouldn't write one for me?
No.
You sure?
No. Because you clown me for being a letter writer. So why would I help you?
But you take so pride in it. That doesn't mean you can't write one for me.
Hey,
I was texting Sham like, I don't get upset a lot, and I don't honestly like.
No, you just Kirk a lot.
I Kirk in okay, yeah. The fans are like, "What are you talking about?" We heard the Raiders rant like 2 days ago.
What do you say?
Okay, let me rephrase. Kirk it out about the Raiders. That's like fun. You know what I mean? Sports. That's fun.
I'm not mad. I just Kirk a lot.
Very, very good. I do not like. You know, I think we said it. You know, getting mad at customer service and all that kind of stuff. Even though I was unhappy, I am severely unhappy with this airline for the way I've been treated this weekend.
I feel like I know what this airline is, and I hate that airline.
I don't want to have first world problems. This is a first world problem, so I'm not gonna whine about it too much. But traveling is hard enough. Like, try to at least do right by your passengers. That's all I'm trying to say. And traveling a lot has sort of been catching up with me this weekend a little bit. I've been a little tired or whatever. So, I mean, I just don't have the time or space or patience for that. They could have done better. They could have done a lot better. I guess I've been spoiled by Southwest, because Southwest, any kind of inconvenience whatsoever, they're on top of it. And this airline was not like that. So
you notice that there are like Southwest people and non-Southwest people, and there's nothing in between. Like, there are people who love Southwest, there are people who hate it, and in between, there's no in between. Like, you either love it or you don't.
Yep.
And I don't understand why people hate Southwest. I've
Bougie
heard
people hate them because they don't have a
first, and they don't have first class.
Right.
But
stupid.
It is dumb. I mean, the seats are comfortable, they're roomy. Like, I fly Southwest flights, and I'm only 5'2.5", so I don't exactly need a lot of leg room.
Right.
But for a person who is short to complain about an airline not having leg room, that's a problem.
Yeah. Tall people.
Southwest always has enough room for me.
Tall people. I feel I'm 6 foot. Tall, like 6+ people. I feel so bad for them on airplanes. Like, you have to go to the
you have to be in first class,
or either
or an exit,
or the exit row.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to. I had a boss one time at 2 jobs ago, and I felt so bad for him all the time. He had bad knees. He was like 6'4".
That's funny.
And he was an older guy.
Yeah.
And he had bad knees and all that, and we used to have to fly places, and he could not, like, it had to be the exit row.
Yeah.
Period.
My team leader where I work, he's about 6'5", and he's a girthy guy. Like, he used to play football in college, so he's naturally just girthy.
Yeah.
And he also has bad knees, and he's a little older, not old, but he only flies first class because of that reason, and he can afford it. Yeah. But because of that too, like, and whenever there's only a Southwest flight, he's like kicking and screaming, like he just doesn't want to be on it. But I just kind of feel like you can't. Other than that, you can't go wrong with Southwest because the customer service is great. I love when you get on the plane and you have a flight attendant that has a big personality and does these, like, one guy like did like impressions over the loudspeaker. Like, he was doing like different characters
a lot.
Yeah, they do that type of stuff, and they're just open and friendly and warm.
My last Southwest flight guy was like that. By the way, I will say this: Charlotte, y'all airport, man, that's a good airport. A lot of good scenery in there, and on the plane. Sham, don't do that. It's okay.
I'm just gonna.
We can't. You should do that more too. When you see things you like, say it. This is our podcast.
I'm not a visual person.
Why?
I never have been.
Well, I'm a visual person.
We
I
know.
love Charlotte, and I love that airport, and I love even running through it. But I've been through it a bunch of times. I go through it all the time. Love that airport.
Nothing to see here.
You have anything before we get into some news?
Nope.
Man, we gonna dive right into it.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got? I feel like this has been a big entertainment week. I do have a few political things. Not that many. Not as usual as I've been laying it on lately.
Well, I feel like the biggest thing, like on a crossover scale this week, has been the thing with Kevin Hart and the Oscars. Yeah.
That's a big thing.
So let me just give you a little bit of backstory because, as you all know, I love reality shows. So I've actually seen every episode of Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Although I heard that show was funny.
It was very funny.
Yes.
I mean, it had like a lot of funny people, like comedians in real life and just funny people.
Is that where the word Mitch started
Yes.
from?
Man, bitch.
Yes.
Mitch.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, Kevin Hart was always being called a Mitch on that show by Nick, by Boris Kojo, even Robin Thicke barred him a few times. But
keep going. I have a question though after you finish.
Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because during that show, it was like a running thing that Kevin Hart wanted to one day host the Oscars. Which brings us back to current because he was finally given the opportunity to host the Oscars coming up in this February.
Yeah, they usually
do it in February, right after the Grammys.
Late February.
They do it like literally it's Golden Globes, Grammys, Academy Awards.
February is usually like Super Bowl, All-Star Game, Grammys, Oscars.
Yeah, it's all, like of that. All of that. It's a good month if you're into entertainment.
Correct.
So he's always kind of wanted to be the Oscars host, and he gets the opportunity to do it. And like social media trolls always do, they dug up some statements that he made directed at Wayne Brady.
Yep. Because
he kept posting pictures of him, and he used that F word that I don't like to address him.
That's one of the worst words.
It is.
Out there.
It's up there with the N word.
Yes.
For them, like, you know, I hear people in the LGBT community use that word between each other, and it's no different from like when black people do it, and it's not good either way.
Yeah, I was about to say I can't speak for the LGBTQ community, but unlike the N word, in which some black people, you know, a lot of black people use it, I can't see how you use that in any kind of like.
I've heard it. They do it.
Affectionate way.
And they probably think the same thing about us.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very akin to what black people do with that word.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
They dug it out from a tweet that he posted a while ago. And they dug out the comedy show that he had called Seriously Funny. Mm-hmm. That was before before he got big. Yeah. Where he said that if he ever had a son, he would not want him to be gay. It was like a fear or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he actually believed that or if that was just part of his routine.
Part of the bit,
you know what I mean? But even if he did actually believe that, there are a lot of men out here that don't want their sons to be gay.
I'm gonna jump out here and say this: whether they admit it or not, the majority of men.
Right. Most men are homophobes.
At minimum, would be like, I would have to cope.
I'm okay with the fact that a lot of men are homophobes. I get it. I'm not okay with using that word though.
Correct.
I'm not gonna be angry at him for not wanting his son to be gay. Because, you know, you want for a man, it's very important to be able to continue his legacy. Yep. To just, you know, keep fathering and having children down the line.
Look, I'm going to be transparent. There's a difference between saying I don't want something and if it happened, like, how am I going to react?
Right. It's a preference.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that if your son does turn out to be gay, that you're going to turn into that you're going to just abandon your kid.
Correct.
So this being said, at first, Kevin Hart was like, he was like, no, I'm not apologizing, blah, blah, blah. And then like hours later, he apologized and said he was stepping down from the Oscars.
Yeah.
So I thought about this. I was like, what? I wonder. I went back in time and I thought about some of the Oscars hosts. And I was like, this is just a testament of this, and to use Doug Williams's word, climate.
Mm-hmm. Because there's some Oscar hosts that should have stepped down way before this, or for way
worse.
I put it this way, right? Kevin Hart and this is a way lower bar to be used to have him step down than some of the other Oscar hosts.
Now, let me ask you this: would you have stepped down?
No.
I agree with you.
No.
I absolutely would not have stepped down. I would have stood by those words in the comedy show. I would have, of course, apologized for using that word, but I never would have stepped down. And you know what I would have done?
What?
I would have put it into the monologue in the beginning of the show.
Yep. Incorporated. I would have somehow, been sincere in my apology, incorporated into the act, and kept it moving.
Exactly.
Because Kevin Hart, and see, that's the thing. I didn't realize it was the first episode of this entire podcast that we talked about Kevin Hart
and Cat Williams
and all that. And we were talking about sort of his response to Cat Williams and how strong he was in that and how big he is. Mm-hmm. Kevin Hart is entirely too big to buckle to something like this.
Absolutely.
And honestly, if you want to sort of do the right thing here, you embrace the fact that you said it. Mm-hmm. You apologize. You use your platform and your status to say, you know what, this is a teachable moment. I mean, and I'm making it sound more serious than it is. He can do it in a comedic way. This is a teachable moment. I'm big enough to withstand this.
Right.
Let's go ahead and proceed.
I feel like he buckled, and he said all of those things after he had stepped down.
Correct.
You have to let people grow. This was a different time in my life. I'm a mature. Yeah, but that's the stance you should have taken from the beginning, and just was like, look, I apologize, but I'm not stepping down from the Oscars unless the Academy was like, yo, if you don't step down, we gonna fire you.
Well, then you gonna have to fire me. And you know what? Then you gonna have to fire me.
But I don't believe that happened.
And I don't believe that happened either. And let's say, I hope that didn't happen, because then I would lose way more respect than I've already lost.
Yeah, because you don't watch award shows.
Well, I mean, the Oscars, actually, I don't watch the whole thing. I am intrigued a little bit because I like the way that, I mean, the Oscars are a different animal. I'm more into movies than I am into like music and even TV. Mm-hmm. So, the prestige of the Oscars, I will watch it. I will not sit there and watch the whole thing cover to cover. No. But I do like how they try to change it up, and how important the hosts are and the format and all that. So I will sit there and kind of, go into it. And actually, a friend of mine, and a few friends of mine used to have like Oscar parties and stuff. And like you just said, or like we just said, it comes right after like the All-Star game and the Super Bowl and all that. Right. So literally, in February, you can have a stretch where you have the Super Bowl, you can go to someone's Super Bowl party, you can go to the All-Star game party, you go to the Oscar party, so it's just kind of an event. That being said, Kevin Hart, listen, if the Oscars made you do this, you need to go back to your team and reevaluate if you need to understand how big you are. I understand how big you are, and I don't even, as we talked about, rock with you like that. You are entirely too big to let the Oscars or anybody else dictate to you that you need to step down. If they're going to fire you, fine. Then that will be a story. I will make them fire me. I'll be like, look, I said this 10 years ago. I sincerely apologize. It was wrong to say whatever. I need y'all to step out here and take ownership and fire me. I'm not going to come out here and step down and everyone else gets to walk away from this. Mm-hmm. No. So that's you are absolutely correct in bringing up that story, and I think it's appropriate when we're talking about Kevin Hart, because all he was talking about when he was talking about Cat Williams, the man pulled receipts on Cat Williams in such a way that you felt like if you want to step to Kevin Hart in a certain type of way, you better come correct. And if they stepped to him and told him to step down, I don't feel like they had enough to do that. Not the Kevin Hart that I saw, but Cat Williams like that.
He came for a contemporary.
Correct.
He didn't come for the man.
So if you, yeah, and then so that's a whole other ball of wax, isn't it? Because so you can come out here and nuke Cat Williams when he wasn't even talking to you,
right?
Like
you was fighting somebody else's battle.
Yeah, he wasn't even talking to you. He was talking to your girl. Okay, fine. She's like kind of your umbrella.
And Gerard Carmichael. Yeah.
But the point being, you came out here Suge Knight gangster style on him. Yeah. But then the Academy comes out because of something you did 10 years ago, and you gonna politely step down, and that's it. When you out here making movies left and right,
yeah,
nah, I don't rock with that either. So yeah, that's all. Those are all my little thoughts on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I would have been like, no, I'm not stepping down, and I would have put that joint right in the opening monologue. I would have made people laugh. And usually, you know, artists are very accepting of these types of things.
Yep.
So they would have just sat there and laughed with you. And some of them probably support you.
You know what's ironic? We're talking about the Oscars, right? Actors. I've come to learn this as I've grown older. There's a reason a lot of actors are actors. They need scripts, because when they don't have scripts, 75% of the people in that audience, if you get a microphone in front of them long enough and someone doesn't tell them what to say something stupid.
All the time.
All the time. Okay? That's why they give horrible interviews. That's why the interviews have to be completely
That's why they need publicists.
Controlled. That's right. Because they all say something stupid. So to your point, they all sympathize when someone gets caught. Because it's like, you know what? I've been there. And
Pretty much.
Don't catch me on a mic because I don't know what to say. That's why I need pieces of paper provided to me to tell me what to say for like 50% of my life. Yeah. So no. Yeah.
And while we're on award shows, the Grammy nominees came out yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar and Drake got the most nominations. Kendrick Lamar had 8, and Drake had 7. Kendrick Lamar's nominations came mostly from the Black Panther album, which was a phenomenal album.
Give it to him right now in my non-Grammy affiliated, like, non-vote.
I mean, yeah, Drake's a Bama. Like, let's be real.
Why you don't like Drake? I mean, Will gotta go into it.
No, we're not doing this.
Fine.
But also her HER.
Yes.
She has about 3 or 4 nominations. Three nominations: Best New Artist, Best R&B Album, and Album of the Year.
Okay.
So congratulations to her. I like her voice. I saw her perform on the BET Awards over the summer. And look, guys, I watch a lot of award shows. I try to catch all of them.
I'm telling y'all, man, Sham will eventually run E. That's pretty much what it is.
So there's that. I mean, Toni Braxton was nominated.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. For her album. Okay.
Yeah, Sex and Cigarettes.
Okay.
Janelle Monáe bust into tears for her nomination. Which, you know, it's funny. Like, some of these people, you're like, wait, did they even come out with something? Like, you know? But she did, and I had to be reminded of it. Song of the Year has like 25 nominees. I'm not even gonna go through all of them, but Kendrick, Drake is in there. Lady Gaga is in there.
Is All the Stars in there?
All the Stars. Yeah. And God's Plan.
All the Stars. My vote.
And one of the nominees for Best New Artist is Chloe and Halle. Those 2 girls are phenomenal.
Okay.
They're sisters.
Yeah.
Beyonce, they're under Beyonce's umbrella. They also star in Grownish.
Oh, how is that show?
I love that show.
Okay.
That show is very good. Very well done.
Okay.
It's coming back in January. And they have a really good spirit. I saw them on Wild and Out. They were on the Breakfast Club. They just seem to have very good spirits.
Is Grownish on the same night as Blackish?
No.
Okay.
It comes on Wednesday night. And it's on Freeform. It's on cable. So they have less limitations.
Okay.
And they go there on that show. So yeah, that's just a partial rundown of the Grammy Awards, since we were just talking about award shows. I just wanted to stick that in there. So of course I will have my rundown once it airs.
We need the synopsis, the cliff notes.
Absolutely. And the Soul Train Awards came on last week, and I didn't mention it
they still come on?
Yes.
I thought they had discontinued for a while.
Well, they don't really advertise it that well.
Okay.
They never actually stopped having the ceremony. I think some years they didn't air it.
Okay. All right. That's probably what I'm thinking then.
But this year it was hosted by Tisha Campbell and Tashina Arnold.
Okay, because I saw a horrific picture of Tisha Campbell. Am I tripping?
I mean, I have not seen this picture, so I cannot.
How did she look at the awards?
I was going to tell you that it aired, but it's on my DVR. I have not watched it, so I have to come back to. I'll circle back to this and give you my takes on it. But they honored Erykah Badu, who has been the host for the last few years. So I'm on it, folks. I'll be back with my my opinion.
This has nothing to do with whether Sham's on it or not. Sham, I'm giving you a spoiler alert right now. I believe I was sent a picture of Tisha Campbell at this award show. You tell me how she looks, please. Like, if you look for nothing else in your synopsis next week, please tell me how she looks, because I was told no. I'm
I mean,
serious.
I don't care. Give a crap about how she looks. The only reason why I'm gonna care is because you've mentioned this.
That's
now.
right. Well, now I'm asking you to care.
Jesus.
Because I know you don't care about stuff like that. I'm not saying like how she looks like in general. I'm saying I was told she looked. Well, not told. I was shown, and I think it was from this award show that she looked. Or it could have been from Empire. That she looked disturbing.
Could have been from Empire.
All right. Well, do you still watch Empire?
Yeah.
How is it?
It's gotten better. Like, the first season was great.
Okay.
Season 2.
I watched some of the first season.
Season 2 sucked. It kind of went off the rails.
Yeah.
It's come back, but I think since people just kind of like dropped off, like they're not still around to see that it's gotten much better. So, but I get committed to these shows.
Well, here's the thing. To your point, good for you. You, as a show, you cannot withstand having a bad second season.
Especially when you had 13 million viewers a week.
Right. The second and third seasons of a show are critical.
Yeah.
Especially the second one, because the second one is like, okay, the buzz has built if you've built something.
Yeah. It was a sophomore jinx.
Now, some people are bringing in their casual friends to watch this.
Yeah. And they're like, what is this shit you got me watching?
Yeah. And that'll turn them off quicker. Like, you know what? I'm going to get off this too because I'm embarrassed.
I think the problem with the second season was with the first season was so successful that there were so many people that wanted to be a part of the second season. Like, you had cameos for no damn reason.
Yeah.
Like, people were just popping up out of nowhere, like major stars, just to be a part of this thing. And as a viewer, you're like, what the hell are they doing here? Like, what do you even, like, why was Chris Rock like a drug lord and like in jail wanting to kill Lucius? Like, it made no sense. Like, you've never seen Chris Rock as an actual thug, right? Except for like in CB4, and that was caricature. It was, for the most part,
an extreme caricature.
So like it just, certain people just didn't, like Mary J. Blige showed up. Like, it was just random people that were in it, and you were like, okay, this is just dumb. So they went back to the core of it in season 3, but by that time, like I said, people were just done. The ratings are nowhere near what they were for first season. Yeah. So, but I feel like I brought this up before, like when we had our breakdown about the shows earlier. I think it was episode 3 or 4, where I feel like for me, a lot of the shows that I like, the third season has always been the weakest. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? On the flip side, the very, very good shows, to you. So in a way, you're kind of saying a reverse of something that I think we both felt. If you're a very good show, if you have a good season 3, that kind of solidifies your status.
Yeah.
Because to your point, a lot of shows they drop off sometimes after the first season, which is horrible, but especially after the second season, they get really comfortable. Then that third season, they just cannot sustain it. Like, the really good shows take it to another level on that third season. Right. I'm talking about HBO, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time.
Well, I mean, there's some HBO shows where I felt like the third season was bad. Sex and the City, I didn't think the third season was great.
Sopranos' third season was awesome.
I mean, Entourage, the third season was not so great. I know you don't really watch Ballers. That third season was horrible.
I think I kept up with Ballers. Oh, no, you're right. I kept up with Ballers the first 2 seasons.
That third season was horrible. Power's third season was not so great. What's another one? Shameless. I love that show, but the third season was trash. The Affair, which also comes on Showtime, that third season you can just throw it in the toilet.
Wait a minute, Shameless has had. I mean, not Shameless. The Affair has had 3 seasons.
The Affair has had 5 seasons.
Wow.
And after season 6 is going to be done.
Wow.
And shout out to Joshua Treem. I used to work with him at a previous employer. His niece is the writer and creator of The Affair.
Okay.
So we used to always have these discussions about them every week, and he'd always ask my opinion. And we don't work together anymore, but you know, that was one of our things. So
let me tell you, good shows, good third seasons.
I'm sorry. The last one I'm gonna say, which is a great show and everybody loves it, but it's the 3rd season right now, and it's dry. I don't like it. This Is Us.
Oh well, that's your show.
It's a drop off.
I believe a couple episodes ago you specifically said it is one of the best shows to ever be on television. Those were your
I think it is, words. But this 3rd season is trash.
I mean, so does that at all downgrade that status or ranking?
Temporarily.
Okay. All right.
Because the 4th season could very well be awesome. You never know.
Let me tell you something. The Wire, 3rd season. Now, in most people's eyes, especially critically, The Wire's 4th season was like empirically the best or objectively the best in terms of what the show was trying to accomplish. And I can't really argue with that. But in terms of like television and entertainment, the 3rd season of The Wire is like one of the best seasons of any television show ever, period. If you watch The Wire, you know what I'm talking about. And actually, The Wire is also a good example of, I'm not going to say it was a bad 2nd season, but they kind of went off the rails of the 1st season. And they kind of disillusioned a lot of their viewers. And at the end, you saw what they were trying to do, but they took a big risk and it did not pay off. And it was not the type of show that could take that type of gamble because they were already on HBO and it's a premium channel and all that. And I think in hindsight, they probably would have approached it differently. In hindsight, you look at the 2nd season, you appreciate it. Whatever. The 3rd season of The Wire is awesome. Those type of shows that can do that. Game of Thrones 3rd season, I'm not a big fan of it because I read the books and I was expecting a lot more. But a lot of people, the Red Wedding is in the 3rd season.
Yeah, but that's like the...
It's towards the end, but I mean, climax, it's building up to
climax of that season.
And so that's what people think about when they think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback off of The Wire though, but what do you notice about that show that's different from some of the other shows we named? The Wire is based on actual things. It's
Correct.
based on real life.
Correct.
So, I mean, yeah, you can take poetic licenses and liberties, but for the most part, you're following something that actually happened. So it's a little different when it comes to how those seasons would perform. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
And I think that's why it probably was better.
I understand your point.
Comparison.
The structure was based around real life events.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, it chronologically, it didn't necessarily abide by that. But yes, I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. A lot of these other things were like complete fiction. Yeah. This was based in fact. Yes.
Yeah, you actually sat down and wrote a trash season. So, you know what I'm saying? That came off your dome. The trash season came off your dome. And 2 more before we just move on to something else. Friday Night Lights, 3rd season, trash. And my favorite show ever in life, Gilmore Girls, 3rd season, trash.
Wow.
Yeah.
And didn't they have what, 6, 7?
7 seasons.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Hey,
right.
It is what it is.
Cool beans.
People are going to be like, after listening to this, I wonder if she's right.
Yeah, they go back and like, maybe it was trash. I like, don't you love that when like somebody says something you actually liked it, you don't want to say that, you're like, oh, it was trash? You don't say anything when everybody's talking about it, then you go back and like, maybe it was trash. I knew there was something off about it. Yeah, you know what, it's trash. The next conversation we have about this, I'm going to be adamant about it. It's trash.
I just swayed everyone's opinion.
Yeah. Nice. Good job.
Everybody's watching This Is Us right now, and they're thinking it's good.
Yo, listen, you're stepping out there on This Is Us because, I mean, y'all are adamant. Y'all This Is Us people, y'all are like the Beehive.
Yo,
So
excellent show. But this season, I'm like, yo, what are we doing?
at the This Is Us meeting, you better come with your no cards because the way these people be caping for it, I don't know. All right, nice entertainment breakdown. I felt like we had some other entertainment news, did we not? Or did you kind of wrap it up all in one big swoop?
Yeah, I kind of wrapped it up in one big swoop.
Okay.
The other thing that we had was more in sports, but
okay, you are correct. That's probably what I was thinking of. All right, look, politics. Not much. Well, I shouldn't say not much. There's always a lot, but very, very kind of convoluted. But we can put it all in one big ball. Look, John Kelly got fired today as the White House chief of staff. So the trickle of firings is still continuing, and this was intimated. This is kind of how 45 conducts business. He did another one of his East Lawn Marine One press conferences, and he basically was like, look, he's going to step away by the end of the year. Now, I had to look up a couple episodes ago, episode 10, John Kelly got in a shouting match with John Bolton, who is our ambassador to the Middle East, amongst other places. And they got in the shouting match about the border and all that. So John Kelly was on his way out. The only important thing about this that I will mention right now is that John Kelly was also interviewed by the Mueller team. At first he didn't go, and then he turned around and did go. So it seems like this Mueller investigation against 45 is kind of closing in, okay? And whether that had something to do with John Kelly's exit, we do not know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. There was already tension there in the first place. John Kelly will probably look back on his tenure as chief of staff to this president as probably one of the most frustrating and frankly regrettable times of his life. This was a military man who's used to serving with honor or whatever, and at every time you saw him standing next to 45 would go off, he would be sitting there looking like he would rather be literally any place else on the entire planet than standing right there. So and he also himself did some disgraceful things. John Kelly, I'm not letting you off the hook for this. This has to be talked about. And you know what? I should have looked up the soldier's name. It just popped in my mind right now. There was this soldier, I want to say it was either in Afghanistan or Iraq, but one of those places, who died, a young black man. And help me out if you know what I'm talking about. Not the name, but I'm just saying. And long story short, his remains were found, and they were brought back here. And his wife,
I remember this.
Yeah, his wife came and claimed the body, what have you. And the president was he called her, and basically it was like the worst phone call from a president to a fallen soldier ever.
Yeah.
And John Kelly comes out there, who has been in the military and has lost a son himself,
carrying water,
and not only carried water, but basically almost like calling her a liar about the phone call. And it was like, are you serious? You know what it was? I don't want to say it was Maxine. It was another congresswoman. I forget the congresswoman's name, who vouched for the phone call that the president made and how horrible it was. He signed up for this. That's what it was.
Yeah,
basically he signed up for this. So this is just gonna happen.
Sergeant LaDavid Johnson.
That's right. And long story short, John Kelly comes out and criticizes the congresswoman, calls her a liar, says all this, says all that. It shows no sympathy or empathy for this woman who's lost her husband, even though he lost his own son in a similar circumstance and has served in the military. And that was one of the few times that he came out and verbally said something about any kind of issue. And it was like, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
Are you serious right now? This woman, literally, I remember a picture of her leaning over her husband's casket, crying.
That's the picture I'm looking at right now?
Yeah. And so, John Kelly, you know what? You're not off the hook. Why don't you reflect on the time, all your honor and all that you kind of basically put on the table to serve in this position and carry water, as we talked about. So that's that. Really, the only other kind of political thing. Listen, every week I say, "Oh well, Jamal Khashoggi, that story's over." No, it's not over. That story's not going to be over. So here's the other thing about that. Actually, surprisingly, I guess sort of, the Senate. We talked about this. They actually are acting like they want to do something about this.
What?
They've done some sanctions. Well, not sanctions. I'm sorry, resolutions. Kind of like you're being bad statements to 45 about this. But
verbal slaps on the wrist.
Verbal smacks on the wrist. Correct. However, they seem prepared to do sanctions. They seem prepared to say, "Look, we're not going to allow our government to continue to do business with the Crown Prince, who clearly is guilty of this crime." Now, Lindsey Graham, especially doing the Kavanaugh stuff, like, sit down. You're actually stepping out here kind of looking all right on this. He was like, "Look, this dude is so guilty." Like, they were like, "Is there a smoking gun?" He said, "No, there's a smoking hacksaw," because he's using that term because they dismembered Jamal Khashoggi. And it's like, I forget the other guy's name, the little congressman who always seems like he opposes 45. But anyway, he was like, if there was a trial on this, he would be convicted. MBS, the Crown Prince, would be convicted in 30 minutes. That's what he said. He literally said, he was like, he would be convicted in a half hour. Like, we can't reveal the specifics because it was classified briefing, but let's just say, like, whatever they say he did that.
Fastest conviction ever.
Ever. Like, between what we think of OJ and this, like, it'd be a tie. Yeah, like, whatever. Yeah, this dude did it. So they are actually coming out here and actually trying to act like they're gonna do something. So we'll see on it. I'm not optimistic, but they're at least acting like we can't just sweep this under the rug.
They do a whole lot of acting, so
exactly. Always. Oh, one more political thing. I apologize. Kamala Harris has basically indicated that she's going to run for president. Senator from California.
Uh-huh.
Very learned, very smart, and very tough. Like, do not cross her. The thing I like about this, I've talked about Michael Avenatti, who has announced that he will not run for president.
He should be her vice president. Just run on the ticket.
He's gotten himself out of his little legal jam with the domestic violence issue, but he has announced he's not running. She said, this fight, if I do run, it will be ugly, and I will go at 45, which is all I need to hear from her. I knew she would do it, but I needed her to say she would do it.
Right.
Take the gloves off and let's box. So that's all the political news I have. See, very short. Short week.
Yeah.
Ready to get some sports?
Sure.
Let's go. So shall we start with the NFL real quick?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So we don't need to do NFC, AFC, whatever. I mean, let's just put it all in one ball. I have a mea culpa here, okay? First and foremost, Sham has been very accurate about the Texans over the last few weeks. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Texans because I don't care. And I believe I said this. The Texans could go 13-3 for all I care. They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
I would put a dub on that.
Right. They're not going anywhere. So that's another conversation for another time. However, they are tied into this. When we were talking about the AFC South, over the last few weeks, I've been running my mouth about, the Titans are a jack-in-the-box team, but guess what? They're going to pop up and beat everybody in the AFC South because they're the bullies of the AFC South. And you know what? They're going to stop this Texas train right now. Yeah, well, guess what? The Texans
are chewing right along.
Soundly beat the Titans at home. Was that Thursday nighter?
No, it was a Monday night.
Monday night. Yeah, I knew it was a prime time.
It was Monday
night. So basically about a week and a half ago, because it wasn't this Monday. It was last Monday, right? Or was it this Monday?
It was this past Monday.
Okay, so about 5 days ago.
Yeah.
They took it to them. Wait a minute. No, because the Titans beat the daylights out of the Jaguars.
That was Thursday.
So the Titans played on Monday and Thursday?
Wait a minute.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that.
So maybe it was the preview. It was the Monday after Thanksgiving.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what it was. I don't even know who played this past Monday.
Yeah,
because it probably was a trash game.
When did y'all?
Oh yeah, we did. It was a trash game. See?
Okay, guys. That was gold. All right, we'll come back to that in a moment.
Yeah, we gonna circle back. Dang, anyway, these weeks are running together.
Yeah, they are. 10 days ago, anyway, the Titans
that was
played.
Great.
The Titans.
It was probably a trash game.
Yeah, probably some trash team.
It
Who
was.
cares about them? 10 days ago, the Titans played the Texans, and the Texans blew the Titans out. It was at home, but it doesn't matter. They blew them out, and I stood on a mountain and said, "I don't care what the Titans are doing. They're gonna beat the Texans, and they're gonna beat everybody in the division because they're the villains. They're the bullies of that division, and blah blah blah." Yeah, whatever.
And I really wanted to play the sound bite, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna let Shaka live. I'm gonna let him live.
I hopefully I gave it some justice as to how ridiculous I sounded. And and so okay, mea culpa. You never can. I actually should have taken my own advice. I've called the Titans a Jack in the Box team the entire season. So why in the world would I vouch for a Jack in the Box team? Even if I do feel historically they've run the division or whatever. Who cares?
They're exactly who you thought they were.
And rest in peace, Diddy Green. They let everybody off the hook except me.
And the Eagles.
Now, I guess they were mad about that because they came back this week and beat the J off the Jaguars.
They did.
I mean, good gracious. Jacksonville, like, we have talked about y'all for the last few weeks, talking about the season's run off the rails. Y'all are off the rails into the woods, and there's now a salvage team looking for like survivors. Okay, yeah, that situation is over.
They about to be a part of an expansion draft for the AFL.
Re-expansion. Y'all the last expansion teams. Y'all in Carolina. Yeah, y'all about to redo that
for the AFL, the FFL, the XFL.
They finally benched Bortles after. I love how people bench people in week 14 or whatever, or 13. Like, too little, too late.
Like, yeah, really.
You should have benched him 6 weeks ago. But so that situation's over. So I needed to mea culpa that and give Sham her props in terms of she looked at the Texas schedule and they have done what she said. They've pretty much run that table, that weak table that you said that they would have.
It was very weak.
And for better or for worse, they have a great record, and we'll see how they take that into the playoffs. But they're clearly going to win that division. Yeah. Now, Indianapolis may get in as a wild card. We'll see how that plays out because I think they're eligible.
Right now the wild cards are the Chargers and the Ravens.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. The Ravens,
they're 7-5, and the Chargers are 9-3.
Now the Colts 6-6. I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
6-6.
All right. So, and ironically, the Ravens. People were talking about firing Harbaugh. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Harbaugh and McCarthy. One of those got the trigger pulled on him.
I believe you had that one.
Yikes!
You had that one.
I mean, I had it in the sense that I heard it was being talked about. I don't think it was appropriate.
It was not.
Yeah, I don't think it was appropriate.
It's about as appropriate as it would have been for someone to just fire Sean Payton.
Correct. Like, this man won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Jason
Garrett still got a job. Marvin Lewis still has a job.
Jason Garrett and Marvin Lewis are Teflon.
Right. How does Mike McCarthy walk out of the building knowing that Jason Garrett and Marvin Lewis
still have jobs?
Uh-huh. This man won the Super Bowl while they were coaching. Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess that's okay. I guess that's the world we live in. Some of your people, and maybe you can shed some light on this as we circle back to the hilarious moment we just had.
That trash game on Monday.
Yeah. People are talking trash about Doug Peterson.
It's so stupid. It's so unnecessary to talk trash about Doug Peterson.
Man, just what it's last year
he's still the reigning champ.
Sham, we are in the calendar year of this man holding a Super Bowl trophy.
He won it in this 2018.
Right. The man was holding the Super Bowl trophy in February of this same year that we are in right now.
Well, look, if anybody knows anything about our owner, Jeffrey Lurie, he's very loyal. And I said this last time. Even Chip Kelly got to be there for 4 years.
Yeah.
So, and Andy was there for 10, 11.
Yeah.
And Doug Peterson was essentially hired to bring that old Andy feeling back. So I think people are just speculating because of the Eagles' record that he's going to... I don't think it's coming from anywhere inside of the organization. Like, I think Doug Peterson is safe. Now, does he need to find another offensive coordinator? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Grow is awful.
So was Grow promoted? I never asked you this. You talked about Frank Reich. Was Grow promoted like from quarterback coach or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
he was already in the organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't pick him up off the street.
So he's just not getting in there.
I think he was the assistant AC. Oh, OC. I'm sorry.
Now, you sure he wasn't the Hugh Jackson? He wasn't assistant to the OC?
No.
I believe Hugh Jackson low. I believe that situation low. Keep going.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I've said this in the past. The significant thing about Frank Reich was not only was he a decent coordinator, he was a voice. He was a whisperer. He was connected strongly to Carson Wentz. He basically shaped him into the quarterback that he was last season. And you know, that personality, that connection that he had with that offense is missed greatly. Grow does not have this. Clearly.
Now, that's interesting. Okay. So 2 quick questions. All right. So Grow's impact on the offense obviously has been felt. How big was the impact to Wentz? Meaning, okay, Frank Reich had a good relationship with Wentz. Does that now mean that Wentz's development is more based upon, I guess, the coach, or do you still have faith in him that regardless of the coach, you still like how he's going?
Yeah, because you also have to consider that he just came off of a ACL injury.
Yes, a significant.
So you have to factor in the fact that he's still recovering, getting healthy, and he's adjusting to having a new OC.
Okay.
So I think next season will tell us if Grow is still there.
Yeah.
It will tell us more than what we can even like conclude now. So. Okay.
All right, so wait and see. Now, last question about the Eagles, and then we'll kind of touch real quick on the NFL, move on. Big game against Cowboys tomorrow. Might be foot of the division. How do you feel?
I've already said that we're not going to win the division.
You have said that.
And I've also said in the past that we typically play better in Dallas.
Right, which is where this game is, right?
Yeah, it's going to be in Dallas. It's tomorrow at 4:25.
Yeah.
4:25.
I'm watching it with a friend of mine.
So hopefully we'll win. Obviously, I always want us to win. But my issue is this. And okay, so maybe it's just because it's a rivalry and you expect teams to have these types of exchanges. But Grugier Hill, one of our linebackers, basically was talking a bunch of shit. Like, talking about how the Cowboys are choke artists.
Yes.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
The Cowboys aren't even a bear, so I'm not going to say poke the bear, but like, why? Everyone knows that. So why are you like bringing life to it and giving them bulletin board material?
And we've already lost to them.
And that too.
Like, I didn't even.
And they have a better record.
Everything.
Yeah.
Nothing is in your favor.
There's nothing.
There's no reason you should be saying anything.
Yeah.
You go in there with your head down, you play.
And you play and you beat them.
Yeah.
Right.
So
now you're giving them bulletin board material.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys don't need that. They get They are the bulletin board for everyone all the time. Everyone talks about them regardless of how good or not good they are.
Right.
Yeah. No, that was a curious decision.
It's just stupid. Like, just put your head down and play.
All right, so that's that. We'll see how that rolls. The other NFC East team, obviously the Redskins here. Very interesting week for them, in the sense that their Colt McCoy gets hurt, breaks his leg. Mark Sanchez comes in, promptly loses the game to you guys.
Recovers a fumble with his bottom. The
only thing that, and this kind of cross sections into politics / social / entertainment. They entertained signing Colin Kaepernick.
Everybody's gonna entertain.
Now, I'm glad you said that. And I'm going to be completely transparent about this. We've talked about Colin Kaepernick a few times. Probably not as much as you would think, but we did definitely at the beginning. Jay Gruden, the brother of my coach. Okay, whatever. Actually, a lot of people did not like what he said about why they didn't sign Colin Kaepernick. And from a football standpoint, I agree that it makes no sense why they didn't do it. And in general, it bolsters Colin Kaepernick's argument, which his attorney, Mr. Mark Garagos, pointed out. But all that aside, I feel like Jay Gruden at least tried to give a football reason and try to keep it real.
That's 2 weeks in a row he kept it real about something. He the only one around there keeping it real.
He really is. I put it this way. Independent of football, I could at least look Jay Gruden in the eye and trust him. Jay Gruden said, look, you know what? I thought about signing him. So that's number one. How about, besides Steve Bisciotti a couple of years ago when he was talking to Ray Lewis about, they were talking about trying to bring him in. Jay Gruden at least said, look, I thought about signing him, but I don't feel he fits my system. And I don't feel like it would take too much time to teach him my system. I mean, that's dumb because it's like he's better than Mark Sanchez. So shut up.
I mean, I agree with him though.
But I put it this way. I at least see what he was saying.
Yeah, he doesn't fit their system.
He doesn't fit that system, but he's better than like your system. So like, just
he's better than he's better than your system, but he doesn't fit your system because they don't run a West Coast offense.
No, they don't.
No, so
it's like screw your system. Put them in, win some games, and maybe you can go ahead and squeeze out this horrible division right now. But you know what? If you're too wrapped up in your system to do that, then go ahead and lose games. But at minimum, Jay Gruden looked everybody in the eye and said, I thought about signing him and I didn't, and here's why. I would love for a lot of other people and coaches and organizations to do that instead of doing like what John Elway tried to do either earlier this year or last year. Oh, well, you know, he had it. He walked away from us. Shut up and stop lying. Or, oh, well, you know, there's just a lot of other guys out there that no, they're not. Jay Gruden did not say that.
No, he gave a football reason.
Yeah, he was just like, look, I thought about it. Yeah, I thought about it. Like, there's no question.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, the second part that you said, doesn't have time to learn the system. So does Josh Johnson, who hasn't thrown a pass since 2011?
Right. How familiar with your system is he? Yeah.
This man ain't thrown a pass since 2011.
So that kind of took the wind out of your sails of that argument.
Exactly.
But at least you jumped out there and tried to give us a reason.
He tried it.
You tried it. You're hoping that Mark Sanchez doesn't get hurt and you have to put Josh Johnson in. And I'm just glad that you at least jumped and was like, look, I thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I thought about it and I said no. Yeah. Not like, let's not act like Colin Kaepernick is not even out there. Which is what a lot of these teams are trying to do.
But do you notice, like, every time somebody is considering, and I'm putting up air quotes, Colin Kaepernick, his girlfriend has something to say?
Oh, I didn't know. What'd she say?
She basically spoke out last week and said basically what everyone's been saying for the last couple of years, that he's been being blackballed. I guess she figured she needed to just raise her voice another time.
So, she's his girl, and I'm sure she's very supportive. I might need her to calm down. Why do you have to say something every time he's on the verge of getting a job?
Right. It's like she don't want him to get a job. She like him being at home.
Ma'am, do you understand what's going on right here? I heard Colin Kaepernick is working out 5-6 hours a day. He's not working out 5-6 hours a day so that when he's on the verge of getting a job, you could jump out on Twitter and say something. Chill like you've been chilling the rest of the time. Please. Like, let's get this bag first. Please. I don't know. And ladies, I'm not trying to say, you know, everybody got a voice, but can we all sit down at the table and realize the situation? I mean, Sham, am I wrong? Like, why you got, baby, I'm going to a job interview. Please don't post about the job today. Can you post about the job 3 months from now? Actually, don't ever do it. But can you wait till I got the job?
She tweeted, Colin trains every day. All the teams know, but they'd rather keep blackballing them.
I mean, baby, everyone knows this. Find a charity and tweet about that. Please.
I guess I just didn't. I don't know if this just went over my head or I just really didn't care enough, but I didn't realize his girlfriend was Nessa from MTV.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. She used to be a VJ on there. I mean, I know who she is, but I didn't realize that was her.
I feel like I saw a long time ago. After the segment, can you show me a picture?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Because you know I'm a visual person.
Yeah, you are. You're annoying.
All right. Annoying? Yeah, I like to use my eyes.
Anyway.
Off the Nuffle?
The Nuffle?
Any other big things about the Nuffle? I mean, the Kareem Hunt thing. I mean, we talked about that. We talked about, the fallout from that was horrible. So, I mean, in terms of just how the NFL is shaping up in general, I don't think it's much different than last thing we talked about.
Really
good teams are the good teams. I mean, the playoff picture is taking shape. Actually, only other thing I'll say is really it's not so much about who's already in. I think we know the good teams are.
Yeah.
I think the sort of borderline teams we kind of just talked about in the AFC.
Right.
The Colts, the Ravens. Pittsburgh will probably just go ahead and win the division. So.
Yeah, the Ravens are right on their heels, half game back though.
It looks like the Chiefs and Chargers will both come out the West. So, really, there'll be one other wild card spot out of another division. So, like you said, I think it'll be fought between the Colts and the Ravens.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So
the East is pretty much a toss up. Like, so before, the Redskins were that second wild card spot before we beat them.
Yeah.
But because we have losses to Minnesota and the Panthers, Minnesota with that tie is now in that spot, and then the Panthers, and then us. Seattle has pretty much is looking like they're going to secure that fifth seed.
At least one of those.
That fifth seed.
Yeah.
But that sixth seed is going to be down to week 17.
And as far as the Panthers go, Cam's shoulder is the problem.
Yeah.
So if that shoulder's bad, game over.
Wrap that up.
And it looks like it's bad.
It is.
Now, we don't know, but that's the intrigue there.
Uh-huh.
So really, you're talking about Minnesota. I was laughing with, I forget who, but a Redskins fan. And I was saying, what if the Redskins won that division and Kirk Cousins would have to come in here? Because if you win the division, you host a playoff game.
Yeah.
Minnesota wins the wild card day. He has to come in here for the playoff game. I feel like he would completely throw like 5 interceptions. But, that's just me.
Yeah.
But then Stephon Diggs is from here, so whatever.
Yeah. That'd be a nice little homecoming for him.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I feel like actually it was crap. And he said either Stephon Diggs would score 2 touchdowns at 150 yards, or he would like get in the fight and get thrown out the game, which I thought was a perfect way to put that.
Yeah.
Anything else from the Niffle? I don't think so.
Not really.
I do have an MLB story real quick. This is so quick. Bryce Harper, the Lerners, not Ted Lerner. Is it Ted Lerner? I don't know. The majority owner of the Washington Nationals pretty much went on a radio interview the other day, a local interview, and said, we don't think we're going to bring Bryce Harper back. We offered him the $300 million. I believe I talked about that a few episodes ago. And he was like, that was the best we could do. And he was like, that was the best we could do in the sense that we were going to, make other moves. They brought in Corbin.
Yeah, y'all. I was just gonna say y'all signed him to a 6-year contract this
correct,
week
for $100 million. So the Nationals are still making moves. And I will say this, even though I've expressed disappointment in how the season went, the Nationals constantly are making moves. They constantly get their farm system underway. So they don't sit on their laurels. I do like that. Mike Rizzo, the GM, is a very good GM. There are a few things, obviously, just like he's not perfect, but I do like him. So basically, they've taken the attitude with Bryce Harper, like, look, man, we gave you the $300 million offer.
Yep.
You turned it down. I mean, nice knowing you.
What can you do?
Hey, I liked Bryce Harper. His arrival was sort of the culmination of a bunch of good moves we had made before that, and he really brought the team to the level where we were perennial World Series contenders in the sense that we had the talent.
Yeah, but you gotta win that first game, first series.
Exactly, and we just fell short. So he will always be remembered for that. But
the home run derby, that was big.
I mean, but by that time, that was this year, and by that time, this season this year was a failure.
Yeah, but it was the first time that the MLB All-Star Game was in DC, and it's very poetic that he came through in the clutch and won that.
Yeah, it was bittersweet though for us because we kind of felt like this probably will be the last time we see him. So it is what it is. I'm one of those Nationals fans that has already adapted to a post Bryce Harper world. Yeah,
and I mean, I feel like a lot of y'all are probably feeling that way now. Couple lukewarm stove notes. Robinson Cano was traded to the Mets for cash and 5 other players. Jonathan Scope, former Baltimore Oriole,
that was a big trade.
Signed with Minnesota. 1-year contract. I kind of was holding out hope that he would resign.
Oh, not big trade, but big acquisition.
He was signed with Baltimore. You already mentioned Patrick Corbin. Pedro Alvarez, I believe. Jose Alvarez. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said Pedro. Jose Alvarez signed with the Phillies. He was traded for Luis Garcia. And Manny Machado is still out there. Still out there.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Still unsigned. But again, it's a lukewarm stove.
Yes.
So we still got a lot of time.
Probably like January.
Yeah. It'll heat up. Yeah. So that's our little baseball run for now. But it'll definitely, like you said, warm up.
Ready to talk some Nuba real quick?
The NBA, boy. I love the NBA.
Yeah.
Before we go into the NBA, I have one note about college basketball.
Oh, right.
I believe I brought up Furman University on the last episode. Still undefeated.
Yeah.
And ranked in the top 25 for the first time in the history of school.
Congratulations to Furman.
Yep. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome for a small school like that.
I mean, college basketball, I feel like because it's, it essentially starts in November and the tournament's in March. So for all intents and purposes, it goes from November to February because the conference tournaments and all that start like late February. So I feel like the college basketball season like comes and goes like in the blink of an eye.
Well, if you're not a college basketball person,
right?
And a lot of people aren't until March, and that's basically just adding on to your point. You're watching the NBA all this time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Whereas I am watching it the whole time. So for me, like, I only start watching the NBA when college is over.
Right.
Like I don't even
reverse.
Yeah, I do the reverse. So
But I love the conference tournaments though, because I love like how they. I mean, being a bubble team is awful in general, but watching it as a viewer and watching like, okay, well, they gotta. They don't even have to win the conference tournament. They just got to get to like the second round, and then that'll prove that like they're good
in the major conferences.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do like that sort of intrigue with it.
But a lot of these mid-major conferences, you got to win your tournament.
Oh yeah.
And if you were the best team in your conference in the entire season, and then you lose in that conference tournament,
like game over.
It's over.
You go home.
It's over. Yeah. And
all that work for nothing.
My alma mater, Hampton University, for years and years we were in the MEAC. Now we're in the Big South. We've moved outside of the Black college conferences.
And you and I talked about that.
Yeah, and
off air.
We could be like, I don't know, 20-7. when you get to that MEAC tournament and you lose. Done, son.
By the way, the MEAC, how about this? Anytime there's a MEAC conference of anything, go to that city and you're going to have the time of your life. Oh, God. No, listen, no, don't do that. I'll put it this way. When I was in college, and I mean, even after, anywhere where it's like, oh, the MEAC's here? Yeah.
Or the CIAA.
Oh, listen, I've had people in Charlotte. Like, I've been to Charlotte 3 or 4 times for different reasons. I've never been for the CIAA. They're like, what are you doing? It's just like coming to New Orleans a whole bunch of times, but not coming for Mardi Gras. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You need to come back for this.
What we even doing out here, man?
Yeah.
So that was just my like a little quick tips on college basketball, but the NBA. So,
okay.
John Wall, your boy.
My boy.
There have been talks that he will be traded to LA for Lonzo Ball.
Yeah. And look, we talked about the Wizards. For whatever reason, it's actually more frustrating. I believe I alluded to this last time. They've actually tried to play with a little bit more respectability lately, even though fresh tonight they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers and lost badly, got mopped. Anyway,
I think he was point shaving.
That literally was what people were saying on social media. Okay, anyway, long story short, yes, that was a big thing this week that the Lakers had reached out. The Lakers reached out, and I guess we turned them down. At this point, I would love to see it work out with John Wall here. I know I've criticized him on this show. That being said, I'd rather have John Wall and have it work out than start over with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball means LeVar Ball. Yeah. Which means game over.
But notice, we haven't heard a peep from LeVar.
Yeah, well, you know what? If he came here, we'd hear a peep from him and then some. This town is already not built for the mature development of athletes. We are kind of a circus town for athletes, and I think when DC fans accept that, we can start, fixing it. We cater to the clubs. We worship our athletes regardless of their accomplishments. And that's a whole nother discussion. LeVar Ball coming here will be a disaster. Okay? Disaster. We would not be able to handle it. But yeah, whatever. Other kind of NBA notes. Dwight Howard is completely out of the game. We talked about this. He's going to be out for 2 or 3 months. So in that respect, the Wizards game over for them. In that respect, that story about him and his lover, or alleged lover, I should say, that's kind of gone away, but that won't go away. All right, cool. Now let's talk about the actual Nuba. A lot of good teams. Toronto's still good. Warriors kind of got back on track. Houston struggling.
Yeah, they're trash.
struggling, and I kind of want to talk about them. And I know we need to wrap some stuff up. Mike D'Antoni, I don't. Even when they were good, it was kind of a Bill O'Brien situation, and maybe it's a Houston thing. I don't know. Carrying these coaches, yeah, you're having some success, but something's not right. That's Mike D'Antoni.
Well,
in a nutshell.
The thing about Mike D'Antoni's system, you have to have the right components for his system to work. You have to have really athletic players. The team has to be ridiculously athletic to work. Yeah. When he was in Phoenix, he had Sean Marion, he had Amari Stoudemire, he had Steve Nash, who could just turn it on, turn it off. You had, even in New York before Carmelo ruined the team.
Wow.
He had.
You sure Mike D'Antoni didn't ruin the team?
He had Amari Stoudemire there again. He had Raymond Felton. He had who was the other player he had? But he had a team that was athletic that could run his offense.
Okay.
His offense does not serve well when you have players that play iso ball. Chris Paul works in that offense. And I think that James Harden kind of makes that offense a little stagnant.
Okay.
You had athletic role players like Trevor Ariza last year.
Yeah.
You had, you know what I mean?
Losing Ariza hurt them.
It hurt them a lot. So, you have to have genuine athletes for his offense to work because it's high, it's fast paced, it's high powered, and he doesn't do half court well.
Yeah. So, although we talked about them dumping Carmelo, which honestly, guys, pull the curtain back. Sham and I we could listen to us talk about Carmelo Anthony.
It took on a life of its own.
To the cows. If I'm ever sad, I'm gonna listen to us talk about that. Like that. All right, but in all seriousness, he was not the solution, but he was not the problem.
Right.
Put it like that.
Was a move that should have never been made.
Correct. Now,
I'm not blaming him, but it wasn't a good fit.
Well, that's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah. He's not the solution, but he wasn't the problem.
Right.
All right. Cool. I owe an apology to Paul George. I don't think I've really bashed him on this show, but I don't.
You don't exactly believe in him.
Yeah. Well, he's balling lately, and OKC is balling and good, because that means Russ is going to be in the mix, and that means he's going to be a problem. And I like when Russ is a problem.
I love me some Russ.
Yes. Make OKC good so that everybody gets uncomfortable.
But Carmelo's gone, and they're much better.
They were okay. Hey, I'm gonna let you and I'm gonna let Carmelo's team work the situation out with you. You're gonna get a letter in the mail.
I don't even care. Put it in the comments.
You've already talked about it. But
it's just such an easy joke to make.
You've got it.
He's a common denominator in many of these situations. But look, so yes, I agree with you. Paul George is balling. Westbrook is balling. I think the addition of Schroeder was great.
Dennis Schroeder, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Yeah. They're steadily rising from the bottom of the standings.
My 50 game prediction for the Lakers, although technically, mathematically,
it could happen.
It's not. No, I was gonna say it's a little bit short right now in terms of tracking. I believe they're tracking to like 48. But like recently it's tracking hard. Yeah, they figured that out.
So speaking of the Lakers, did you hear about KD's comments about Bron?
KD needs to sit down and shut up.
He's such a Bama.
I feel like we talked about it. I thought.
Nah, this just happened like 2 days ago.
About people not wanting to play with him?
No, about the toxicity, about the toxic thing.
Yeah. Basically saying that why would anybody want to play with him? Because, okay. Actually, maybe we didn't talk about it. Where he was saying to your point, why would anyone want to play with him? Because all the reporters are like, basically, just kissing up to him all the time.
Yeah, so it's a toxic environment.
And it's a toxic environment, and basically he was saying like, a lot of people, and probably talking about himself, wouldn't be able to handle it. Because LeBron is such a presence. It's like, shut up.
He said the attention is BS attention, is fluff. It's not LeBron's fault. It's just the fact that you have so many groupies in the media that love to hang on every word. Just get out of the way and let us play basketball.
It's like, dude.
Why are you talking?
Yeah, shut up.
What does this have to do with anything?
And on top of that, why don't you let yourself be great, too? You're the second best player in the world, or at least,
top three.
Top three? Okay. That probably would be you. And I'm not saying you should want that, but what I'm saying is, why are you worried about that? Why should you be worried about that? Like, LeBron's not worried about that. Anthony Davis ain't worried about that. Russ isn't worried about that. So, like, why are you worried about the reporters and whether they, like, are fanboys or not or whatever? Like, you just worried about it. It's ironic. Oh, well, shut up and let us play ball. Well, shut up and play ball.
Yeah.
Shut up and play ball. Like, why are you sitting there? Even if you were asked that question, it's not a big deal. Like, all you gotta say is it's not a big deal. Like, I can play with him.
Yeah. Hey, he's one of the best players in the league. Who wouldn't want to play with him? Like, just anything, just blanket.
Hey, Kevin Durant. I know people from Sea Pleasant. Why are you such a Bama?
He is a Bama.
Like, why?
Did you know his mom had a Lifetime movie?
No.
Wanda Durant, the real MVP.
Did you watch it? Because
absolutely not.
If I saw it, I probably would, like, knee-jerk reaction, turn my TV off.
It wasn't even on. I was like browsing on demand and it popped up as like a recommendation. I was like, what the fuck out of here?
See, that's one of those things. I would make somebody watch that and give me a report. Like, yo, let me know what happened there.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to actually watch it and sacrifice my time and life to do it. But I'm curious.
You can
that's a car accident of a movie.
You can just read the Wikipedia article about it. Like, it ain't even, why put another person through it? I
would hate somebody and make them watch it.
Anyway, so yeah, that's and while we're going to wrap this up, we open this NBA talk about the Wizards and them losing tonight to the Cavs.
Yes.
You have some friends that were really trying to get on you about that, but it's funny because didn't the Knicks lose to the Nets tonight?
Oh, I didn't know that until you just said it. Yeah. But guess what? They're about to get hit up. Because they've been trying to at me all night, and that's not going to work. Look, guys, there's no one harder on my teams than me. But what I will not accept is if your team is as bad or worse than mine, you coming for me. Don't do it. It's kind of like, okay, look, I have a family, and I'm not talking about my family. I'm giving it, my family is great. But I'm talking about if people have a family and they have family members who they're like, look, man, like, this person is not good. But then somebody else comes for them, buckle up.
Yeah.
Don't come for my family.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so it's like, don't come for my team when your team's trash.
Right.
These are Knicks fans.
And they are Knicks fans.
You're going to add me about the Wizards? And I can talk about the Wizards.
They lost to the Nets.
I can talk about the Wizards, but you're a Knicks fan. Oh, well, we have a future. No, you don't.
You have nothing.
No, you don't.
You've been having a future since 1976.
Exactly. A friend of ours, us both, who we both respect, literally was like, oh, well, we have a plan. You've been having a plan for 30 years. Your plan's garbage. Whatever your plan was, scrap that and come up with another one.
Yep.
And do not, what you're not going to do is tag me.
Your plan ended with that OJ car chase.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. The networks did the right thing that day. Let's see the Broncos. The Bronco chase as opposed to the next loser to the Rockets. Could you imagine that happening today?
No.
We had no options on TV.
Nah, I was, and we joke, but I was pissed.
Of course.
I was watching TV. The game was really good.
Wasn't that the finals?
It was the NBA finals. I think it was like game 5.
So, guys, our younger viewers, what we're talking about is the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase, which even if you're a younger viewer, you've heard of that. What you may not know about that is that when that was happening, the television networks, we did not have all these options and Netflix and all this and cable and all. Well, we had cable, but all that. The networks preempted the NBA finals.
Yep.
Preempted the coverage and went to the O.J. Simpson chase.
Yep.
Now, you look at it in a vacuum, you're like, that's unacceptable. And even people at the time were like, yo, what's going on? Now, the problem was, once we saw what was happening,
you couldn't stop watching.
You couldn't stop watching. So it was kind of like, I mean, they shouldn't have turned off the game, but like, I'm not going to stop watching.
Yeah. I mean, to a point, I was like, okay, we watched him go down that highway for like what seemed like hours, but it would literally only 10 minutes went by.
Right.
And I was like,
no, hold on.
No, for me. For me.
Oh, okay.
No, it lasted like
I'm about to say,
a long time.
Wow.
For me, I'm thinking I'm watching this thing for hours. Only 10 minutes went by. I'm like, okay, why isn't the game back on? Like, I was already bored.
Right.
But it never came back on. If you wanted to know the score, you found out about it on the news the next day. And for you young bucks, there is an ESPN 30 for 30 about this very night.
Yes.
And how the two coincide together.
Not just the two. Wasn't it like a bunch of stuff that happened that day?
Yeah, it was. I think they labeled that episode like June 14th, 1994.
That date, because
maybe
it was
not.
a bunch of
maybe
stuff.
not the 14th, but it was June something 1994. A bunch of stuff happened that day.
Correct.
But yeah, there's interviews about the decisions that were being made during that time. Whose idea was it to?
Producers were like running in the room like, yo, just cut it off.
Right. Yeah. So definitely, if you haven't watched it, check it out. So I think it might be time to wrap this up.
I mean, I started on the OJ reference to the airport. We end on the OJ reference on the freeway.
That was very organic. Like that was not planned at all. Because
appropriate symmetry.
We didn't have a pre-production meeting really this time.
We kind of did.
Ish. Pre-production-ish.
Yes.
So I'm going to take us out. Look, thank you guys for continuing to support this podcast. We love you all for listening.
We're getting good support.
I'm loving it.
Thank you guys so much.
We are on Castbox now. We are also on SoundCloud.
Yep.
You can reach us on Twitter at the Stop Playing _pod. You can also email us at stopplayingpodcast@gmail.com. And we look forward to any feedback that you may have. And as always, don't double dip. Keep your chips on the plate.
Yes.